Hello and welcome to the video for interactive design for Thursday, September 24th. I'm going to let people in from the waiting room. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. You know what I just realized? I kind of feel like Mr. Rogers. Like, well, you know how Mr. Rogers was on television and he was talking to all the little boys and girls like, I'm on television. Well, it's not TV, but it's a computer, right?
I don't know, but I always feel that Mr. Rogers kind of creepy. I don't know why.
I always thought Mr. Rogers was kind of creepy too because his niceness didn't seem real.
Yeah, it's too much nice.
But then
And always surrounded with kids.
yeah, I know. But then but then if you watch like there were two films that came out. One was like a documentary about him and the other was Tom Hanks was playing him and he actually was that nice of a guy. So now I think he's just the coolest guy ever, but at the time, yeah, I thought he was a little bit creepy. Um Any other thoughts on Mr. Rogers from you guys? Any of you guys uh, think he was creepy or maybe thought he was amazing? What do you think? Add your comments now. Let's see. How come I can't see my... Is this my chat screen? Oh, here's a chat. Was it true or not that he was ex-military, or is that internet myth? Um, I don't know. That could be internet myth. Ex-military. That sounds really bizarre, like a bizarre myth. Let me look at Wikipedia and see. Uh, Maybe he was actually Batman. That would make some sense. Fred Rogers. Let's see. Okay, we'll look at his personal life here. Career, personal life. Personal life, maybe? No, that will be like marriages and stuff. Let's see. His marriages. He was a vegetarian. He was very religious. Yeah, I didn't see anything about military. I could have missed it, but I don't see anything about that. So maybe he wasn't like, maybe he wasn't special forces or something. Um, okay, just an internet myth, yeah. Um, but you know what was really fascinating? He was a big part of every aspect of his show. Like he was the one that created the puppets that were used on the show, and I think he wrote. I think he wrote some of the music. He was just an incredibly talented guy. You know, he came up with the concept for the show. Just ridiculously talented. He was also like, I guess it said on his website that on the Wikipedia that he wasn't a vegetarian. He was a pescatarian, which I think has something to do with that you eat fish or something like that. But one of the things he was the most proud of was that he weighed exactly the same weight as he did in high school his entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, so like every day, so first of all, he was a vegetarian, and then every day he would go swimming, and he had this routine where he would always go do exactly the same amount of laps or whatever. And he kept this routine his entire life, and he always weighed the exact same weight. And he like used to talk about it at parties, stuff like that was like his big thing. I was like, that's
You
pretty
see, he's creepy.
yeah. Okay. So Mr. Rogers was a little creepy, but he was also a little cool, so maybe it all mixes together and balances out. All right. So let's see. I'll put you guys in the attendance list here and then get to the website. Okay, interactive design. All right. So today is the day that we're going to look at your ads and see what you guys have come up with. So who would like to be the first person to volunteer to share their ads with us?
I'll go first.
Okay, not a problem. I will bring up your folder here. Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. Mm, where the heck is this folder? I don't know why I have so much trouble sometimes finding these folders. Okay, this is definitely the Pima email. That's, oh, this is, okay. All right, here we go. Here's the folder. And, okay, I got that open. Now I got to share the screen. Um, so Spike, you've been having trouble networking this week, so if you didn't get it done, I understand. We can uh, give you extra time to work on that. Okay, so Amelia, what am I downloading? This lines underscore Amelia logo ad? Okay.
I thought I broke apart my fonts, but I guess I did not.
Well, actually, here's the deal. You have to remember to break them apart twice. Did you do break apart twice?
Did it not go all the way?
Yeah, see, um, when you go once, then it just turns them all into individual letters, and then when you do it the second time, it turns them into a graphic.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Well,
so now we know, but that's okay. I mean, it looks like it's still readable, but it's just not the font you picked.
yeah.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at this.
Actually, no, that is the font I picked.
Oh, so maybe it came through. That's cool. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
That feather animation was really cool.
um I don't know, it doesn't look like that on my computer, Greg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Looks better on my computer.
I bet it does. Hey, you want to share your screen and then you can show us yours?
Oh, I'm gonna switch to Zoom on my other computer real quick.
Oh, okay. So that you can share it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna end this and I'll be right back.
All right, not a problem. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna stop my share, and then when you're ready, you can share your screen. Oh, I gotta also allow you to share. Let's see. So I gotta go into don't tell me, and sharing options, all participants. Okay, should be able to share now, or when you're ready. Oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave this Zoom call and rejoin in just a second.
All right. So, you guys, I gotta remember not to. Do you remember how we saw that presentation on Tuesday by James about Japanese animation, and then we watched that beautiful animation of the cat and the woman, right? Do you remember that? Well, so I got this notice from Google. It was a Google takedown order. What it was because I was recording the whole class, I ended up recording that whole video of the cat, and then I posted that on YouTube so that you guys could watch it if you wanted to. And then YouTube issued a takedown order because I was infringing on that guy's copyright. So they took the video down. So anyway, we'll have to remember not to watch an entire video of something that's copyrighted while this is being recorded, or otherwise it'll happen again. Okay, are you ready, Amelia?
I am.
All right. Share away when the mood hits you.
Is this being shared?
I see. Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so here's my animation.
Okay. Can you play it again? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it looks really good. What do you guys think?
It's good.
It's very nice.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
You should be. It's really well done. Let's see. Yeah, Trevor says the timing is great, and I agree. And it takes a long time to get good timing. And Grady thinks it looks good too, and Renee likes it as well.
I
Very
think you fixed the spacing between the different teardrop shapes. Is that correct? Because something looks better there.
Yeah, they should be correct now.
yeah, it's really great. I mean, the timing, you know, one logo, peacock, and then the button. It's all really good.
Thank you.
Uh, one incredibly minor criticism is you have a period after it's free, but you don't have one after no credit card required. Uh,
Should there be one?
I would probably put one in since you have one over here. Um, the other way to do it would be to make it two lines and say it's free, no credit card required, and have no period. So in other words, I would be consistent with whatever you do. If you're going to use a period on one, use it on the other. If you're not going to use one on one, don't use it. Um, but otherwise, I think it's very, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. Or a question mark leaves them confused and intrigued. Find out. Click on the question mark to find out more. Okay. Let's see. Now, who else has got an ad that they would like to show? Hmm, someone somewhere has one. Trevor, you've got one? Okay, let me see if I can look in your folder here. Let's see. That is okay. So Trevor. And 252. Open. Okay. So I got to see what he says is the correct one. It's called Final Ad, and I add music to just FYI. Final Ad. All right. That should be pretty easy to find. So Final Ad FLA. There it is. I'll download that. Download anyway. Open with Adobe Animate. All right. Warning, 48-bit mouse pack success. Okay, that's fine. Okay, couple of your fonts. I got some error warning about your fonts, but we'll see what happens there. So let me share my screen. Share screen, share. Okay, so go down to the bottom. Okay, here we are. We'll do control, test movie, and animate. Whoa. Okay, let me play it again. Oh. Okay, so that looks really good. Let me see, there's some comments here. Let's bring those up. Let's see, just a bit loud. Sorry about that. That's my fault as well. I had that volume up. Let's see. The button should work though. Oh, the button should work, huh? Okay. Well, let's check it out. Let's check out the buttons. All right, cool. Hey, it worked. Good job, Trevor. Uh, I like this Coach Sarah John right here. It's clearly the placeholder stuff that was in there already. Doom Crew is quite a unique brand that I found while on the road and will always rep. This is a creepy dude, Trevor. I need you to know that. Um, okay. Well, good work. He's a hero of yours. I'm sure he is. All right. What did you guys think? Can you give Trevor some feedback about his ad?
I really liked it. I think the adding the music was really good too.
The choice of music was really good. Trevor already apologized for the volume, so that's not a big deal. We can turn the volume down. Um, I thought the timing was pretty good too, as far as regarding the music. The music was just kind of chugging along, and he would have one picture come up, there'd be a couple beats, another picture. By the way, that Taco Bell one, it always cracks me up, but this time when I was reading it, I thought it says, "Can Taco Bell cater my funeral?" And I was thinking, well, they probably should cater it because they're the reason you're dead. Um, okay, let's see. So Grady said it had style, and it definitely did have that. And yeah, I think it kind of comes off as a very sort of real ad. Like it could easily be an ad that's on the internet right now, just like Amelia's. They both look really good, and it could easily be an ad for a real clothing company. So that's always the litmus test for me if something is working, is if you can imagine it being on the internet. And I think I could. I think you did a nice job. I kind of like that little shop button appearing at the end too. It's kind of like, okay, the ad's over. Boom. Now go shop. There should be like a finger pointing at you, like shop. Like Uncle Sam was like, I want you to join the army. I want you to shop. Um, yeah, but it was really good, Trevor. Nice job. Okay, who else has got something for us? Something delightful, a delightful animation.
I have mine.
You have yours. Okay, and is it in your folder or did you
My
email it?
folder. No, in my folder.
It's in your folder?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Gunk. All right, let's see. All right. Mm, and last add MP4?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna have to make this big. Okay, let me rewind it, start over. Okay, looks extremely good. Nice job. That also looks like a real ad. Looks terrific. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay, so 3 for 3. We got some good looking ads here. All look like they could be on the internet, which is good work. Trevor says it's really well done, very professional looking. I agree.
Thank you.
Let's see. Grady, you got something? Let me look in your folder. That's the wrong. Is that? That doesn't look like the right. Yeah, it's not it. Okay, Grady. 252 Grady. Um, so Faded Midnight Night GIF is the main one, and I also made some extras in Adobe in AE. Okay. Uh, all right. Faded Midnight GIF is the main one. All right. So let's download this. Uh, okay, cool. So you've got the text being revealed over here, and then your Faded Midnight is like kind of it's like half it's like a moon that's kind of half faded out, and then you got fadedmidnight.org right down here. Okay, it looks good, and then you got something moving around in the background there. I don't know if that's clouds or quite what that is, um, but it has an interesting look to it. Um, I do like your palette, as somebody mentioned before. The gray, black, or black, white, and yellow is a really nice palette. Now let's see. So she made some extras in AE. So let me take a look at those. So After Effects. There's an FLA. Let's see. This is extra HD. Let's download this. I don't think After Effects is running on my computer right now. Oh, it's a GIF. It's also a GIF. Okay, good. So maybe I can open that in my browser as well. Okay, let's look at this one. Oh, wait, what the hell? I'm sorry. I pressed the wrong button completely. I don't know why I did that. All right. Firefox. Ooh. Wow. Make this one a little bigger. Okay, I'm gonna refresh this one so you guys can see this one. Can you see the fog moving back there?
Yes.
So Renee says the colors are really nice. Grady says they're GIFs. Trevor says he likes the text reveal. It's a nice motion that definitely catches your eye and goes well in the background. Yeah, I think this After Effects one is super special. It's really good. Because you have, you're exercising more control over things like the fade in, and of course the fog is looking really good. It's cool that After Effects lets you export this as just an animated GIF, because obviously that's a format that you can put on websites. But you can use all your special effects in After Effects to do cool things. Now, was there? You said a couple extra. Is there a third one that I missed, Grady? That we haven't seen yet, or is it just really these two? Oh, it's just lower res. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Um, well, it looks great. You did a super nice job. I think the only thing I might suggest is that you have a little bit more of a call to action. So like right now you have a contact Faded Midnight Arts or whatever, but I wonder if you could maybe like remove this contact and maybe combine that with fadedmidnightarts.org and say like remove this and then have it say click here to visit fadedmidnight.org, and that way it becomes the link, but also it's a call to action, like you need a website, try Faded Midnight Arts, and we see cool graphics, which makes us think we want to hire these people, and then click here to contact us, right? Yeah, but it looks really good. Nice job. Okay. Now, if you're not quite finished with your ad, maybe things didn't go quite your way, that's okay. You guys can finish up. You certainly have the weekend to work on it, and maybe you could show us something next week if you're not quite there, or if you're having a problem and something I can help you with, let me know. But does anybody else have any to show right now today here? I think we've seen a number of them, so if we don't have any more, that's fine. Like I said, we can look at them when you guys are done, and you can let me know if you're having problems. Okay. All right. So good work, you guys. Those look really, really nice. And they've improved a lot the whole time you guys have been working on them. They've kept improving. Okay. So what I would like to do now is go to the tutorial that we've been working on. Adobe Animate tutorial about the baskets. And we're gonna spend some more time in that because it's a really good tutorial. We can learn a lot of cool things from that. So, don't tell me. Here it is. Everyday things. I'm gonna go ahead and go into Animate, and let's see. What do I have to do? I have to open Everyday Things. Oh, it's here, right here. Okay, so I got to close these, and then here we are with the baskets. All right, and now I'll go ahead and bring up the video here, and we can get started on this.
So now we're going to create an animation inside of our product movie clip symbol. So on the main stage, let's select our product symbol. Let's double click to go.
I'm sorry, that one looks like we've already watched. I'm going to go down to the very last one here, which is animating the final product.
So now we're going to animate the final product in the products movie clip symbol. So far we have the dip bowl coming in from the right, animating in toward the left. The wood bowl animating from top to bottom. So now we're going to add the ceramic bowl animating from the right to the left. And then we're going to remove it completely from the stage by animating it from the bottom to the top, revealing the basket on the main stage. So down in the timeline panel, let's come in here and reveal the ceramic layer.
Okay, so I'm going to go on to, let's see. So it looks like what we have to do is, if you're in the main animation here, which I am, you're going to have to double click on this bowl in the center, and then that is going to take you into the what we call the movie clip, right? And then in the movie clip, you're going to have the ceramic bowl has the eyeball turned off, and so we're going to turn that one on so we can see it in this view.
Let's scroll the timeline out a little bit. After the wood bowl animates on at frame 130, we want to wait 30 frames before we animate the ceramic bowl. So I'll come out here to frame 160 in the ceramic layer, hit F5 to add frames.
Okay, so frame 160 in the ceramic bowl layer. It's this little gray frame underneath the 160. Hit F5 on your keyboard to extend the bowl that long.
Then let's add a new layer. Let's name this Mask 3. Then in the library panel, let's drag out a copy of our Mask 3 symbol.
Okay, so new layer. Name this Mask 3. Open up, let's see, open up your library, that's CC libraries. Let me find my library here. Okay, and then you have something called mask, which is your green box. So click on that and drag it onto the stage. We're just basically reusing the same mask over and over again.
We'll start by positioning this so it completely covers the ceramic bowl. Now at frame 160 is where we're going to begin this animation. So let's come out here and select frame 190 in the mask 3 layer. I'll hit F6 to create a new keyframe.
Okay, so two things to do here. One, make sure the mask completely covers the bowl that's showing on the screen here. And then also go out to 160. I'm 190, I'm sorry. And at 190, hit F6. Now, F6 is different from F5 in that it's going to put it in a keyframe as opposed to just a frame. So when you put in just a frame, it just extends the animation longer, but when you put it in a keyframe, it allows you to animate between that keyframe and another one.
Then we'll bring the timeline back to frame 160. Let's select the mask layer. And then using my shift and left arrow key, I'm going to move the mask to the left so it no longer intersects the ceramic bowl. So once that's in position, I'll come down here, select the 160th frame in mask 3, hit F6 to create a new keyframe.
Okay, so now we're going to come down here to frame 160. And if you're not quite sure which frame it is, you can look up here, it'll show you. We're going to click on the green box mask and start to drag it to the left and then hold our shift key down. We're going to pull it completely off the ceramic bowl. And then we're going to click on frame 160 again and right click and insert a keyframe or hit F6 to insert a keyframe.
Select the frames in between. Right click, choose Classic Tween. Then for the ceramic layer, let's come out to frame 190.
Okay, so we're going to create a classic tween between those two keyframes. Okay, that's going to move the mask.
Hit F5 to add our frames.
Okay, now we got to extend the ceramic bowl out so that it stays that whole time on the stage. So hit frame 160 on the ceramic bowl layer and hit F5. And that will make the bowl be there the whole time it's being unmasked.
And then let's come over and for mask 3, let's right click and choose mask.
Okay, so now we're actually going to turn it into a mask. So click on the words mask 3, right click and choose mask. Of course, you can always preview this by grabbing your playback head and dragging it along there. Now as we look, if we go back here, we should see around frame 40 the dip bowl gets in and it's on stage for like 1 second, and then the wood bowl, and that's on stage for 1 second, and then of course the ceramic bowl, and we know that the basket is off on the right, and that rolls in of its own accord. In fact, I think that's the first thing that happens is the basket rolls in.
So now we have an animation of the ceramic bowl starting from the left and moving to the right. Now we'll need to see the wood bowl underneath. So we'll come out here to frame 190, select the 190th frame for mask 2 and wood, hit F5 to add keyframes.
Okay, so we need the wood bowl to go to frame 190 and its mask. So we're going to go mask 2, which is right underneath these two layers, and then hold our shift key down and click the frame right below it, which is the wood bowl. And we're going to hit F5. It's going to extend the frames over to there.
Now if we jog the timeline, we can see that the wood bowl is now replaced with the ceramic bowl. So now that the final product is showing, we want to have this on the stage for 1 second or 30 frames, and then we'll want to transition this product off the stage. So let's scroll the timeline over a little bit. We're at frame 190. Let's come out here and select the 220th frame for mask 3 and ceramic. I'll hit F5 to add in some frames.
Okay, so 220 on the top two layers. So you may have to scroll down a little bit. Find 220, shift click the top two layers, and then hit F5.
Then let's come up here and select the mask 3 layer, frame 220. We'll hit F6 to create a new keyframe. Then I'll come out here and select the 250th frame for mask 3, hit F6 to add a keyframe.
Okay, so now we're going to transition this out of here. So we got to go up to 220 on the very top. Click on it. Hit F6 for a keyframe. Then come down to 250 and hit F6 for a keyframe there. So because we have 2 keyframes, we probably want to do some sort of animation there.
Select the 250th frame for the ceramic layer, hit F5 to add a frame.
Okay, so now we want to extend the ceramic layer out. So click on frame 250 on the ceramic layer and hit F5 to extend the ceramic bowl.
And now to make another animation with the same mask layer, let's come back and unlock mask 3 and ceramic.
Okay, so we have to unlock them in order to get to the mask. So come down here to the top 2 layers and click on the lock icons for the top 2, and that will unlock them.
Then we'll come back here and select the keyframe at frame 250 for mask 3. We'll move this vertically.
Okay, so click on the very top layer, frame 250 of mask 3. Click on your green mask, start to pull it up, and then hold your shift key down and pull it all the way off the ceramic bowl.
Again, making sure it doesn't intersect with the ceramic art layer. Select any frame between the 2 keyframes, right click, choose Create Classic Tween. Then come back over, relock the layers, and then I can scrub the timeline and see the final reveal of the ceramic bowl.
Okay, so now we're going to click in between these last 2 keyframes, right click and create a motion tween. I'm sorry, not a motion tween, I apologize. Create a classic tween. Then we're going to come back over here and relock the layers, which has the effect of turning the mask back on. And so now what happens is the ceramic bowl disappears, which you would need to do because you know, we have these other ones kind of popping in, and so the ceramic bowl will have to disappear so that if this is a loop, the other ones can appear.
Vertically, showing the basket in the background. Now, before we continue on, there is one mask.
Now, he says vertically showing the basket in the background, but I'm not seeing my basket. So, which is, and I think I know why I'm not seeing my basket. Let me go back. I just want to test something on my own here. I'm going to click this arrow here to go back to the main animation. And yeah, this is why I'm not seeing the basket, is because it's because of where the playback head was when I started working on this, right? If the playback head's at the beginning, you're not going to see the basket because it's not on the stage yet. But anywhere past 40 frames, it's going to be on the stage. So like if I go to 40 frames here, if I drag my playback head to 40 frames, then I double click on the ceramic bowl, sure enough, there's my basket, right? Which means that in the very last frame, that last animation, if I pull it up, it's going to in fact reveal the basket there.
I forgot to reposition in this movie clip. So in the timeline panel, let's scroll all the way to the beginning. Let's get our cursor into the first few frames here. You'll notice that we can see the dip layer. What we need to do is set this up so that the dip layer is invisible. And what I forgot to do was set the position of the first keyframe of mask 1. So let's come in here and unlock mask 1.
So this is what I mentioned, you guys, that he forgot to do. So, so what you want to do is scroll over to the left, and you want to find the dip bowl, and you want to click on that first frame there, and you want to unlock the dip bowl. I'm sorry, let's see. let's see where he is. Let me go back to where he is. So he went to the very first frame and he unlocked mask 1. Let's see.
Dip layer. What we need to do is set this up so that the dip layer is invisible. And what I forgot to do was set the position of the first keyframe of mask 1. So let's come in here and unlock mask 1 and the dip layer. Let's come up here and select the mask, and let's move this off to the right-hand side of the screen.
Okay, now I think the problem on my screen is that I don't actually have the mask on the first frame. Let me see if that's correct. Yeah, I think I don't have the mask on the first frame, so that is a problem. So what we need to do is we need, let's see, basically we need this frame right here. If you look at the mask 1 layer and you click on frame 40, right click on that frame and do copy frames. So once again, mask 1 layer, frame 40, right click on the frame and do copy frames. Now come down here and click on mask 1 layer, the first frame, right click and do paste frames. Now that should be correct because what we have is the mask off to the right. And if the mask is off to the right, it doesn't matter that the dip bowl is there because we can't see it. So the mask stays off to the right on those first 40 frames, and then it's only in the second 40 frames that the mask starts moving, thereby revealing the dip bowl.
That's where the position of the first keyframe is for the mask, but I forgot to move it in the first spot.
Okay, so now you want to relock those two layers, mask 1 and dip.
Now we can come in here and lock these. So now if we scrub this timeline with all 3 products animated, we can see the dip layer animates on. Let's scroll out. Then the wood bowl animates on. Then the ceramic bowl holds for 30 frames. And then this final animation reveals the basket on the main stage.
Okay, so let's try that out on ours. So you should be able to see, I think we've got the first 40 frames, nothing happens. And then the dip bowl comes in. We've got another second of nothingness. Not nothingness, but just that frame on the screen. Then the wood bowl, and then the ceramic bowl, and then finally that animates out to reveal the basket again, so that we've got a loop going.
Now before we can preview this in a browser, we will need to add some simple instructions on the timeline to control playback, and we'll work on adding some simple actions to our animation next.
Okay, so next what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add a little actions, some action script or JavaScript in the case of HTML5.
Now that we've completed the animation of all of the products in the product symbol, let's come up here to the upper left-hand corner of the stage. Let's click on Scene 1 to go back to the main timeline. And now what we're going to do is add in some timeline actions to control the playback in the browser.
Okay, so let's go to Adobe Animate. Let's go click on Scene 1, which will take us back to the main movie here. And I'll try and make this bigger on my screen so we can see it. Okay.
So down in the bottom of the timeline panel here, let's come in here and above headline, let's add a new layer. And let's name this Actions.
Okay, so actions, when you're making an FLA file, you know, it's actions, action script that is on that layer. When you're making an HTML5 file like we're making, something that's going to play on the internet, it's actually JavaScript that ends up on that layer. But you always put that layer on the very top. So what you do is click the very top layer that you have now, then click the plus symbol, and double click the name of the layer and name it actions. This is just a convention that they have to always put the actions on the top layer so they're easy for everybody to find.
I like to put my actions layer above all of the other ones in my timeline. Next, let's grab the playhead. Let's bring this out to about frame 75. Let's select that frame. Let's come up to the insert menu, go to timeline, and let's insert a blank keyframe.
Okay. So on this top layer that we just made, see if you can locate frame 75. It'll tell you what frame you're on right here. Right click and do insert blank keyframe. And of course, a blank keyframe is what you insert when you just need the playback head to sit at a certain location so you can do something else.
What this will allow us to do is add an action that will be executed when the browser gets to the 75th frame of our animation. So now with this selected, let's come up to the window menu and let's come down and choose actions. And now I'll move this up a little bit so I can see my frame down here on the timeline.
Okay, so now we're going to get into actually putting some script in there. So you want to go to Window, and you want to click on Actions, and you want to move this so that you can see everything else that's happening. Really, you just want to be able to see this frame here.
Now the Actions panel allows us, again, to add an action that will be executed at this particular frame. Now in order to see some of the actions that we can add for HTML5, let's come over here and click on this little code symbol here. This will bring up the code snippets. So the code snippets are a series of actions that we can add where Animate will put the code into the Actions window, and then we can make modifications if we need to. So in the code snippets main window here, we can see a group for ActionScript, HTML5 Canvas, and WebGL.
Okay, so this is a real benefit to us, the fact that this code snippets exists. So once you have your actions window open, you click on this little, these two angle brackets, and that will open your code snippets window. And then you got code snippets for whatever you're working with, either ActionScript or HTML5 Canvas. Of course, you can always tell by looking up at the top of the timeline, right here, there'll be a little tab, and at the end, if it's an HTML5 Canvas file, it'll say Canvas inside parentheses. So we know it's HTML5 Canvas that we need to use, so we would twirl open this, and then these are all the pre-created coding snippets that we can use to do things.
So let's open up HTML5 Canvas. Here we can see another set of subcategories. Let's open up timeline navigation. And let's come in here and select and double click stop at this frame.
Okay, so we're going to open up timeline navigations, and we're going to double click stop at this frame. Now, whenever you guys make a movie or a project in Adobe Animate, you should always add a stop action at the end so that the movie stops. That is, unless you want your movie to loop infinitely. The default setting for Adobe Animate is loop indefinitely, but sometimes you don't want that. So it's good to put in a stop command, which is what we just did.
And then once I do that, the code snippet will be added to the Actions panel. Now, if I open the Actions panel up a little bit here, we can see that there's a comment, which shows up here in gray, with an instruction explaining what this particular script is doing. And we can see that this simply just says this.stop with a beginning and ending parenthesis and a semicolon. Now, if you want to, you can come in here and remove the comment, which I'll do here. So this is the only script that we need at frame 75.
Okay, so he mentions that there's a gray area up here which is called a comment, and all of the code snippets have comments on them that explain what they do and how they work. And so this one basically says it's stopping the movie at this frame. Now, once you understand that, you can delete this comment. It doesn't affect the code at all. And then you can leave the this.stop parentheses semicolon. That is the actual code that stops the movie.
So I'll come back here, close the code snippets. I'll also close the actions panel. And now in the timeline, if I select any other frame, you'll see a small letter A above the blank keyframe. This indicates that we have an action here that will be executed at this particular point. And so now what this particular script is doing is stopping the main timeline. So the main timeline will not loop. However, we do want to make sure that our animated symbol loops with all of the products inside. So let's come back to the timeline. Let's select the product layer.
Okay, so I just want to point out what he just said. So we have to actually think of this animation, this ad as two animations. There's the primary or the main animation, which is on the main timeline, and in that, the basket rolls out and reveals everyday things, and that's essentially all that happens on the main timeline. Now we put a movie clip in there, which is like a whole nother animation. It's a nested animation. And in that movie clip, we built all of the different bowls, and we built masks that reveal the bowls and leave them on the stage for a certain amount of time. So what he did was he basically stopped the main animation. So in other words, the basket's going to roll out, it's going to reveal this text, and then at a certain point where we inserted the movie clip of the products, the ad is just going to start showing products. However, that movie clip is just going to loop and keep showing products, even though the ad itself ends right here at frame 75. So that's what you have to think about when you're using ActionScript or JavaScript in this case. What are the things that you want to happen, and how can you use code to make that happen?
And then double click the symbol on the stage to go into isolation mode.
Okay, so now he's gone to the very last frame, and then he's double-clicked on the bowl. So let's see what that looks like. So we go to, well, I guess we can close up the action script and the code snippets. We go down to the last frame. I guess we're on there already, frame 75. And then we go to the products layer and double click on this area right in the center here. Oh, that actually didn't work for me. That was my basket. So, oh, I clicked on the basket layer. What about the products layer? Let me see. Give me a second here. Let me review his video and see exactly what he clicked on.
I want to make sure that our animated symbol loops with all of the products inside. So let's come back to the timeline. Let's select the product layer, and then double click the symbol on the stage to go into isolation mode.
Okay, so he clicks on the product layer, and then he goes in here and he double clicks on this little white circle in the middle, and sure enough, that did take us into the products movie clip.
Inside of our animated product symbol, what we're going to do is add another layer. I'll move this to the top. We'll name this Actions. Press return.
Okay, so, it's like having a movie within a movie. So, if we want to control this, we also have to add actions to this layer. So, or to this movie. So what we're going to do is in here, we're going to create a new layer at the very top. So we're going to click on the top layer, add a new layer. We're going to double click that and name it Actions. And now we can add some script in there.
Then we're going to add a blank keyframe at frame 250 in the Actions panel. So with that frame selected, let's come up.
Okay, we're going to add a blank keyframe. So click on the very top layer at 250, right click, insert blank keyframe.
Up to the insert menu, insert blank keyframe. And now by default, the main timeline and all animated symbols will loop. However, I don't want to loop to the beginning of this particular symbol, because if I scroll back to the beginning and we go back here to frame 1, we have 40 frames where we'll see the basket in the background. And throughout this animation, we've set up the duration of the delay and the transition to be 30 frames. So what I want to do is I want to loop back to the 10th frame here so that we get from 10 to 40, which is a 30 frame delay in which to show the basket on the main timeline. So let's scroll back out. Let's select that blank keyframe. Let's go up to the window menu. Let's open up our actions panel. And what we're going to do here is link back to frame 10.
Okay, so that makes sense, right? What we're going to do? All of these, all the timing in this has been 30 frames or 1 second. And if we just let it loop, it will go back and it will go 40 frames before it makes a change. And that's too much because you'll be able to tell the difference. So we're going to put the action script in here, which loops the playhead. Once somebody comes here and they watch this movie and it hits the end, they're going to hit this action script, which is then going to send them back to the 10th frame. So go Window Actions and open that up.
And we're going to do that by typing this, then a dot, the word go, capital T, go to, and play. And again, the T, the A, and the P are capital. And we can see that down here as well as a shortcut. After the go to and play, we'll put in a beginning and ending parenthesis, then a semicolon.
Okay, so now we're actually typing in some ActionScript or JavaScript. So we're going to type this dot go to and play parentheses semicolon, and you're going to capitalize. Let's see. You're going to capitalize the T, the A, and the P.
And then inside the parentheses, we'll put the number 9. Now we do want to go to frame 10. However, the Create.js framework, which Animate uses to convert the animation to HTML5, refers to all of the frames starting with 0. So frame 1 is 0, frame 2 is 1, and so on. So each frame number we see in the interface is actually one number less when referencing them with JavaScript.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put a 9 inside that. Now this command here is pretty much what you see is what you get. When the playhead hits this last frame, 250 of this movie clip, it's going to look at this script, and the script is going to say, hey, I want you to go play frame 10, right? That's what it's saying. At this point, go to and play, and then whatever frame is in the parentheses. Now, however, there's two types of files that you can make with Adobe Animate. You can make Flash files, which are no longer viable on the internet because nobody supports them anymore. But the Flash files can be used for standalone games and things like that. Now, if you're using a Flash file, then the numbers on your timeline here are all accurate. You know, frame 1 is frame 1, right? However, if you're making something for the web, which we are, in other words, an HTML5 canvas document, in HTML5 canvas, the very first frame is not called frame 1, it's called frame 0. Now they didn't change the timeline, they just are letting you know that you have to keep that in your head. So in other words, when you're working in HTML5 canvas, your first frame is always 0 and your second frame is always 1. And like he said in the video, that means whatever frame you want to send people to is actually one number less than what's showing up on your screen. So we want people to go to frame 10, but in JavaScript, which is HTML5 canvas code, that means they need to go to frame 9. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? That's 10 frames, but it's called frame 9 on this timeline. So we're going to put the 9 in there, which means it'll go to the right place and play.
So once you have that script in place, let's close the Actions panel. And now this symbol will continue to loop. However, after the first time it plays, it will continue to skip the first 10 frames. So now at this point, let's go back to the main timeline. So now we have the main timeline stopping at the 75th frame, and we have our symbol continually looping, setting up the same timing between all of the animations of the products. And so next, we'll talk about testing our animation in a web browser.
Okay, so now it's a good idea to save your animations on a regular basis. So you can close the Actions window and just do File Save. Make sure you're not going to lose anything. Then you can go back to the main animation, which is Scene 1. And you know, of course, if you played this animation inside of Adobe Animate, you would only see what's on the screen right now happening. It's not going to show you all of the other stuff that happens in the movie clip. So in other words, if I take this back to the beginning and I hit my play button, it basically is just going to roll out the basket, and there's a whole nother bunch of things happening that I can't see. In order to see those, I'd have to preview this in a browser. So that's what he's going to talk about next.
Now with our timeline actions in place, we're ready to test our animation in a browser. Now when we test in a browser, Animate will actually publish the project, which generates additional files necessary for the browser to play the animation. So far we have a single Animate file named everydaythings.fla in the My Ad folder. Now when we test the project, Animate will also generate an HTML file, which is loaded into the browser. A JavaScript file is also generated containing all of the instructions based on everything we've set up in our project, and an images directory. The images directory contains either a separate graphic of all of the images we imported, or a single graphic containing all of the individual graphics known as a sprite sheet, and we'll talk more about those options later in the course. Now back in Animate to test the movie, let's come up to the control menu, come down to Test Movie, and select In Browser.
Okay, so let's test our movie out. So Control, Test Movie in Browser. Okay, so just like he said, the movie plays, and the main animation itself, the main timeline stops after 75 frames, at 75 frames, but the nested animation, the movie clip, has that action script that keeps telling it to go back to frame 9, which we know is actually frame 10 in a real in a flash animation. And then it just keeps looping and playing that movie clip. And you can hit refresh on your browser to see it happen again. Okay. All right.
So now in the browser, we can see our intro animation of the basket rolling in, revealing the logo. And then the symbols will start to play. And then our animated product symbol will begin to play, animating the masks of each product. And then once we see the final product, which is the ceramic bowl, this will wait 30 seconds. That will loop back to that 10 frame mark, giving us a 30 frame delay on the main basket. And then we'll see the dip bowl animate in again. And the animation will continue to play with this timing indefinitely. Now back in Animate, we'll also see an output window. The output window will give us information about what's been published from Animate when we test the movie. And then if we go back to the exercise files and take a look at the My Ad folder, we'll now see the HTML, the JavaScript, and the images directory created by testing our movie. And now, even though we did get some published files by testing our movie, if you did look at some of the file sizes, you would notice that they're still rather large. We haven't set up any of the optimization settings for publishing, and we'll work on that later in the course when we're finished with our project. And so at this point, the next script we need to add to our project is going to be for a button that's going to sit over top of the entire advertisement and link to a URL.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to watch one more short video. This next one is just a 5-minute video. We should finish up somewhere right around 2 o'clock. And then I'm going to give you guys a little break, a little 10-minute break to get some water or use the restroom or whatever. And then when we come back, we'll start to talk about the next assignment. Okay.
Now we're going to create a button symbol that's going to sit over top of the entire advertisement and link to a website address. So the first thing we'll do in the timeline panel is create a new layer.
Okay, so let's go back into Adobe Animate. Notice you'll have your output window up here. It gives you information about what you just published. So come over here and click on Timeline, and you'll be in the main animation here. So go ahead and make a new layer on top. This one's going to be actually even on top of the Actions layer.
We'll name this button. I'm going to put this below the Actions panel.
Okay, he likes to have his Actions panel at the very top. So he's going to name this button, and then he's going to click on it and grab it and drag it down below the Actions panel, or the Actions layer.
Let's bring the playhead to frame 1. Next, let's go over to our tools. Let's select the rectangle tool. Next, let's go to the properties. I'm going to come in here and pick a color. I'll leave this semi-transparent green, which is green with the alpha setting of about 60. The color of the button doesn't matter since it's going to be invisible, but I like to use a semi-transparent color so I can see where I'm drawing the object. So with my color set, let's come over here and click and draw and create a rectangle the size of the entire ad.
Okay. So let's see, we go back to the beginning of the movie, I believe. We click on the rectangle tool. We go over here to our color, and we make sure that we have some kind of a green color selected. And then right here where it says alpha, we want to make sure that says something like 60%, which will make it semi-transparent. Then we grab our rectangle tool and we drag out a rectangle which takes up the entire size of the ad, like so.
Once that's in place, let's come back to the Move tool. Then back to the stage, let's select our rectangle. Let's come up to the Modify menu, come down to Convert to Symbol, and I'll just name this button. For the type, let's specify a button down here. Registration doesn't matter.
Okay, so now we're going to go in, click on our selection tool and click on this green box here. Go up to Modify, Convert to Symbol, name it Button, and change the type to Button, and hit OK.
Then we'll click OK. So now we have this button symbol on the main stage. Now let's edit this button by double-clicking it. And now the timeline panel in a button looks different than a graphic or a movie clip. Down here we can see we have different button states. We have up, over, down, and hit. The hit area defines the area of the artwork that's clickable by the user. Now since we drew the button over top of the entire ad, we want the entire ad to be clickable. The up, over, and down states are visuals for the user. And as I mentioned before, I don't want the button to be seen. I want the entire advertisement to be clickable. So let's come over here and let's select the first keyframe. So with the artwork selected on the stage, let's come up to the Edit menu. Let's choose Cut.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to double click on the button, and that takes us into this isolation mode. And he's showing us that button symbols are different from other symbols in that button symbols have these three states, up, over, and down. And in each one of these states, you can change the way a button looks. You can change its color or any other aspect of it. And then there's something called the hit area, which is the area that gets triggered by the click. So what he wants us to do is be in this very first frame here. Click on that very first frame and do Edit, Cut.
Next, let's come over here and select the hit frame. Next, let's come up to the Insert menu, down to Timeline. Let's choose Blank Keyframe. Then we'll come back to the Edit menu and come down and choose Paste in Place.
Okay, so we cut that big button off of the very first frame. We're going to go down here to the hit state, and we're going to go right click on that and do Insert Blank Keyframe. Now, then we're going to right click on that and let's see. Actually, let's just go up here to edit and click paste in place. Now what happens, of course, there's two kinds of buttons when it comes to Adobe Animate. There's buttons you want seen and buttons you want unseen. This is an example of an unseen button. In other words, we cut the button off of the up state, so you're never going to see it. It's never going to be sitting up on the screen. And we don't have anything in the over and down states because we don't want you to hover over it and show a button. We just want to hide the button by making the entire ad a button. So by taking this green box and putting it over the top of the entire ad, we're saying, hey, if you click anywhere on this at any time, it's a button, but we don't want you to see a little, raised graphic that says button on it. We just want the whole ad to be a button. So that's why we're doing it in this way.
So now all of the artwork that we drew is in the hit state, and there is no artwork in the up, down, or over frames. Let's come back to our main timeline, and now what Animate will do is represent that hidden button with this light blue color. This indicates that we have artwork in the hit frame, but in no other frames in that button symbol.
Okay, so now we go back, we click on the scene one, and now there's a light blue area, which means we've got a button on top of everything.
Now let's make sure we have the button selected on the stage. We can see this in the timeline panel. Let's come over to the properties panel. This will let us know that we have an instance of a button, and we can see the button symbol name here. And now what we need to do is add an instance name. We need a unique instance name so that JavaScript can assign a click event to this particular object. So the instance name will be btn underscore, we can't use any spaces. Then I'll type main underscore link. Then press return.
btn underscore main link. Okay, so what you want to do is click on the button on the stage, come over here to the right, you're going to see a box called instance name. Type btn underscore main underscore link. So you have to give every button an instance name, which means it's named for its existence right there on the stage so that you can call it with ActionScript if you need to, or JavaScript.
So now we have a button on the stage, we have an instance name. Let's come down to the window menu. Let's open up the Actions panel. Let's also come over here and open up the code snippets. Let's open up the HTML5 canvas group. Next, we'll open up Actions. And here we have an action that says, click to go to web page. So since we have the button selected on the timeline, the playhead is at the frame 1 mark, and we have an instance name. Let's come in here and double click this.
Okay, so we're going to open up Actions, window Actions. We're going to open up our code snippets by clicking on the two angle brackets. We're going to open up HTML5 canvas, and then let's see, which one did he open? Actions. Then we're going to double click on the top one, which is click to go to web page, and it's going to paste this code in. Of course, the code at the very top in the light gray is a comment, so we won't need to keep that. And then the code down at the bottom is actually creating the buttons interactivity, which makes it link to a web page.
I'll close the code snippets. That's going to add what looks like a fair amount of code here, but really we have just a lot of comments explaining what's happening. So the first comment here explains what the script is doing. The second comment has some instructions explaining that we can replace the www.adobe.com with whatever address we want. So let's come in here and delete the comment. And if we look here, we can see the word this.
Okay, so you can always read these comments before you delete them, and you can even leave them in your code. No harm done if you think they'll be valuable to you. But I'm going to delete this comment, delete the extra space, so that it starts up here with this. And I'm also going to open my window a little more so you can see all the code.
Just like we saw with our go to frame scripts. Here you'll see btn underscore main underscore link, and you'll notice this matches the instance name that we assigned to the button. Add an event listener of click, and then if somebody clicks this link, we're going to open a window, and it's going to go to this web address. So you can come in here and change this to any address that you want. So I'll just name this Codify Design for our studio. And then once that's in place, you can click.
Okay, so let's look at this code real quick. So this dot btn underscore main underscore link means it's referring to this button right here that we have on the stage. And what they do is they add something called an event listener. Now, event listener is literally a piece of code that listens to see if any event occurs. Inside parentheses after that, we tell it what kind of event it's listening for, and it's a mouse click. Once it hears the mouse click, or once it detects it, we want it to go and execute a function called click to go to web page. Okay, so we got the button on the stage. We add a listener, so it's listening for an event. It's listening for a mouse click. Somebody clicks, and now it executes the function called click to go to web page. Now, immediately below that, we write out the function we want it to execute. So it starts out with the word function. It gives the name of the function, click to go to web page. And then inside parentheses, it tells you exactly what it wants the code to do, how it wants the code to execute after somebody clicks on the web page. And what it wants you to do is it wants to open a browser window and go to this address, adobe.com. Now you can put in a different address there. I'll just put in yahoo.com. And so when somebody clicks on anywhere on the ad at any time, it's going to take them to Yahoo. And of course, underscore blank means open a brand new tab. That will open a new tab.
Close the action. Now the action will be assigned to the first frame here. And since the button is on the stage for the entire duration, once this JavaScript is executed, the browser will always be paying attention to see if the user clicks on this object. And now to test these changes in a browser, we can come up to the control window, come down to Test Movie, and select In Browser. Or a shortcut you can use is on the Mac, you can hit the Command key plus the Return key, or on Windows, you can hit Control plus Return. In either case, that will publish the movie just like doing a test movie, load this in a browser, and then we can watch the animation. Now if I roll my cursor inside, I'll get a pointer cursor, and then if I click on this, this will bring me to the website address that we put in the action.
Okay, so you guys can try that out. So you go to animate here. You can close your code snippets. You can close your actions window. If you like, you can save this just to be safe. Then on a PC, you can hit Control plus Return, or on a Mac, you can hit Command Return, and it will launch the test. So now we can see our ad. When we hover over it with a mouse, we get the little hand pointer. And when you click on it, it takes you to whatever web page you wanted it to go to. Okay. Let's see. Let me go back to, okay, here. Okay, and we'll just let him finish this little video here.
And now with all of our scripts out of the way for the advertisement, next we can continue animating our ad, adding some custom web fonts from Typekit, and explore more publishing options as we complete the project.
Okay, so we're going to stop there today. Go ahead and save your files. So just File, Save. And then we're going to take a little break. So it's almost 2:05 now, so let's take a 10-minute break and come back at 2:15. All right, so enjoy your break, guys.